You have an elite pedophilic cabal that's basically running the country in a bipartisan manner, and they're connected through this one specific pedophilic sex trafficker who works for both the state of Israel and also the United States of America, definitely CIA and Mossad. You know, there's not really much we can do about it. It is what it is. Like, that's the attitude overall. And crazy. It's a really unique point in time where you can have this many people in one room and then laser focus on one person's desires. And some people like to abuse it. But we're going to continue now.
And if we found 6 men that they were hiding in 2 hours, imagine how many men they are covering up for in those 3 million files. But the story gets worse. The reality is that Donald Trump's FBI scrubbed these files in March, long before Thomas Massie and I passed the Epstein Transparency Act. Now, my bill is clear. The Epstein Transparency Act requires them to unredact those FBI files. And yet the Justice Department said to me and to Congressman Massie, we just uploaded whatever the FBI sent us. And guess what? The FBI sent scrubbed files. That means the survivor's statement to the FBI, naming rich and powerful men who went to Epstein's island, who went to his ranch, who went to his home and abused underage girls or saw underage girls being paraded, they're all hidden. They're all redacted. It's a little bit of a farce. They're inviting all the members of Congress to go to see the Department of Justice, quote unquote, unredacted files, but they've got all redacted files from the FBI. And it's not the fault of the Justice Department attorneys. They were just told upload things that Donald Trump's FBI had already scrubbed. It's a blatant violation of the Epstein Transparency Act, but it also asks a fundamental question. Who are they protecting? Why are they protecting these rich and powerful men, people I call part of the Epstein class? Why are we in a country where there is no elite accountability for people who do the most heinous things? You have in England the king now calling for an investigation and possible prosecution of his own brother. You have in Norway the princess who no longer has support to be the queen. And yet in the United States of America, we have someone in the cabinet.
True. It is a pretty big L that you have monarchs that are showing more backbone than the supposed American democratic process here. It's pretty wild, man. It's pretty wild. European nation states demonstrate more competence in their governance than we do. We don't feel the need to do so. Yeah, it's startling how much a bigger impact the Epstein files is having in Europe than the U.S. They react in a more normal and more transparent manner to the Epstein revelations than we have. We just straight up look at the Epstein stuff and we're like, oh, wow, I guess we all, this is a moment of vindication for everyone that kind of knew that we have an elite pedophilic cabal that's basically running the country in a bipartisan manner. And they're connected through this one specific pedophilic sex trafficker who works for both the state of Israel and also the United States of America, definitely CIA and Mossad. There's not really much we can do about it. It is what it is. Like, that's the attitude overall, and crazy.
Cabinet, Howard Lutnick, who is all over these Epstein files, who allegedly had business with Epstein after he was convicted of pedophilia, and he still is in the cabinet. We need to ask ourselves, are we in America going to have elite accountability? Are we going to call on rich and powerful people who broke the law or cavorted with a pedophile, a convicted pedophile? Are we going to call them to account? Are we going to have prosecutions for billionaires who went to this island and either underage girls or saw underage girls and didn't say anything? Are we going to have investigations? I'll tell you what this is about. It's not just about the 1,200 survivors. It's about 2 tiers of justice in America. It's about people who can accumulate wealth and power and don't have to care about the rest of America. They have destroyed so much of this country. Income inequality is at a 60-year high. Workers' salaries are less than they have been for 75 years as a part of GDP. Somehow this country seems to be working for the rich and powerful, but it's not working for ordinary working class Americans.
And it's all held together with elite relationships through pedophilia. It is crazy. Relationships to the nation state of Israel, relationships through pedophilia, sex trafficking of minors. Like, I don't even know what to say, man. Have you heard about the other guys other than Wexner and the Sultan? Yeah.
I say enough. It's time to begin with accountability for the Epstein class. Hold them in front of Congress, those people who visited the island or did business with Epstein after he was a convicted pedophile. Investigate them, prosecute them, and let's return to democratic accountability in the United States of America. Let's return to one system of justice in the United States of America. Let's return to a place where every American has a stake in this country.
Do you solemnly declare and affirm under the penalty
A rare window inside the Texas prison where Ghislaine Maxwell is serving 20 years for sex trafficking. The new video shows Maxwell appearing yesterday via video link in front of Congress.
Dude, how can we make fun of France or England ever again and call them like pedophile island or anything like that when, you know, not only is the American elite just as pedophilic, but also at least their populations have been more frustrated with the elite pedophiles than ours has been. Or even when we are frustrated with the elite pedophilia, the pedophilic cabal, there's nothing that takes place. There's no push, there's no motion, there's no momentum to enact justice.
In a closed-door meeting. For survivors, it was a moment for answers. Instead, this.
Ms. Maxwell, were you a close friend and confidant of Jeffrey Epstein?
I would like to answer your question, but on the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer this question and any related questions. I therefore invoke my right to silence. I invoke my Fifth Amendment right to silence. I invoke my Fifth Amendment right.
As expected, Maxwell exercised her right to the Fifth Amendment, meaning she can choose not to give evidence that may incriminate her. However, her lawyer said Maxwell would be prepared to speak fully and honestly if granted clemency by President Trump.
I'm going to have to assert my Fifth, Sixth, and 14th Amendment rights, sir.
If it all sounds familiar, that's because it is. Survivors say it reinforces a pattern that they have long described from both Epstein and Maxwell: self-preservation over accountability.
Well, Ghislaine Maxwell certainly has critical information that would help us understand exactly, what happened and who was there at varying times. Some of that we've been able to piece together through the information from other witnesses, et cetera. But she was definitely at the center of this. The problem is she will never tell the truth.
Maxwell's appearance comes as Congress members criticised what they called the over-redacted Epstein files.
What I saw that bothered me were the names of at least 6 men that have been redacted that are likely incriminated by their inclusion in these files. What we're after is the men who Jeffrey Epstein trafficked women to. We want those names published.
It's been more than a week since the US Department of Justice released millions of videos, texts and emails in connection with the Epstein scandal. A drip feed of information exposing a mapping of...
The problem here is also like the unredacted files. So they basically designed like a skiff style area in Congress where you can go as a congressperson and like look at the unredacted files, right? And the fear that I have the fear that I have is whether or not the unredacted files are the full, complete files there, because we have no assurances. Like right now, one of the only ways that we can figure out whether or not these are all of the actual files is because of Gmail, right? Gmail instantly will download and then re-upload all of the files that the government releases, right? And you can check the metadata to see like what kind of Gmail, okay? It's this effort made by random people that got together and took all of the Jeffrey Epstein vacation emails that were released that will automatically download and then upload all of the files that the administration is putting out there and then deleting. What's crazy about Gmail is that it's currently the only way that we can even figure out whether or not the administration is actually taking out some of the files. Because like initially the files that they're releasing will be like, oh, here it is. Initially the files that they are, and they basically made it easy to like go through it, right? They have the primary emails that he has sent. You can also see like you can also search through people like, you know, Elon Musk and Ehud Barak and all these other like notable figures. But what's interesting, this page, it's like a fake, it's a fake email system that they created to make it easier to browse through Jeffrey Epstein's emails and things like that. Basically, this just makes it easier to browse through all of this information, right? All emails from the January 30th release are now browsable on Gmail. Shout out to Redacted AI for support on large-scale record processing. Now, what's interesting about it is that they also upload all the data from the redacted Epstein files that the FBI, the Department of Justice, has released. And right now, when they release files, people browse through them, people scour through those files and find certain compromising files, and then the DOJ will go back and delete those files from the website. And Gmail, because they immediately download all the files that are released at first glance, is one of the only reliable ways that we can figure out like what they're actually deleting from the redacted files as well. My point is, it's quite difficult. It's virtually impossible for these like old boomers that will go to these like go to the unredacted files inside of Congress and identify what they've manipulated. Right? Trump's FBI scrubbed these files in March. Yeah. Trump's FBI scrubbed these files back in March. Documents Justice got had the redactions the FBI had made back then.
For you and Congressman Massey said there are at least 6 men whose names have been redacted who should be incriminated by their inclusion in the files. Can you elaborate more on that? I mean, is it clear was that part of the group that was redacted in the first place?
No, that is not part of the group. It doesn't look like that was part of the group that was redacted in the first place. There are certain documents that say there are 10 co-conspirators, 15 co-conspirators. In that document, some of them were women. Now, I don't know if those women were survivors or not survivors, but...
Can you speculate why those 6 were redacted? There's more than 6. 6 is just people that they know of as co-conspirators. 6 people, 6 redacted names are co-conspirators that they've identified. There's probably a ton more, chat. Okay? These are just co-conspirators that the Department of Justice also identified as co-conspirators. This is a tiny, tiny sliver, like 0.001% of the overall documents that they've been able to look at. There's just too much information in here. And that it took them like 2 hours to go through all this stuff. So when they say 6 people that should have been unredacted but were hidden from the public as co-conspirators, they're talking about some high-profile individuals that they were able to identify. The real number is probably way, way higher than that. Who would be a shock to you if they were in the files? No one. At this point, no one. No one at all would be a shock to me. America is the greatest superpower on the planet, and America and Israel are in cahoots with one another, and therefore Jeffrey Epstein touched every single person. No pun intended. That's precisely the reason why you see him with like high-profile celebrities every now and then. Like, there is not a single person that would shock me. It depends on the level of connection that they had to Jeffrey Epstein. Okay? That's it. Like, when you say, oh, if Michelle Obama was on there, I'd be shocked. Like, how is that shocking to you? Jeffrey Epstein was in these circles. Michelle Obama could have easily been at an event that Jeffrey Epstein was at. You know what I mean? I mean, Zoran's mom was at an event that Jeffrey Epstein was at. Hello? There's a difference between being mentioned in the files and being a co-conspirator, or the level of involvement that you had and the frequency in which you met Jeffrey Epstein. For example, the Obamas are not in the files directly, right? Like, they are mentioned in the files, of course, you know, because Barack Obama was the president. However, Barack Obama's close associates are directly involved with Jeffrey Epstein. And the same goes for Joe Biden. Joe Biden, as far as we know, did not have like a direct contact with Jeffrey Epstein at all. And yet there are a ton of people that are in close vicinity, close proximity to Joe Biden that are all up and down the Epstein files. They're constantly talking to Jeffrey Epstein. There's constant back and forth. There's constant correspondence. So it shouldn't be shocking to see like certain celebrities that you love that have been connected at some point with Jeffrey Epstein by way of just like being at the same event or something. That's normal. But like I said, it's not remotely surprising to me if we see anyone and everyone on there.
We give the benefit of the doubt to justice. Maybe those were survivors who also happened to be co-conspirators and they appropriately redacted them. But there are 6 men in those documents, some of them foreign-born, a couple of them in the United States with their pictures, and there's absolutely no explanation for why they...
I mean, you're saying, like, what about the Chinese officials? There were some Chinese officials in the Epstein files. They apparently were saying to one another, be careful of the Jewish dog, when referencing Jeffrey Epstein. So even, of course, there's going to be members of the, Chinese government that are going to be in here. Jeffrey Epstein is literally an agent of the CIA. Yeah, the only famous celebrities that you won't see in there are only not in there because they're too young to be in there. You know what I mean? I mean, think about it this way. Mehdi Hasan is mentioned in the Epstein files. But the reason why he was mentioned in the Epstein files is because someone was sending Jeffrey Epstein an email with one of Mehdi Hasan's debates about Islam. Okay? Norm Finkelstein is mentioned in the Jeffrey Epstein files. But the only reason why the Young Turks is mentioned, wait, really? So they're, oh, I didn't know that. I mean, it's not that surprising though, because they were looking at everything, right? Zayn Malik was in the Epstein files, even though he's relatively young. But the reason why he was being mentioned is because he was identified as an anti-Israel celebrity. So not every mention is the same. The Hadid sisters were mentioned. Epstein emails discuss the Hadid sisters' modeling career. He's discussing he alleges they did sexual acts and their father paid modeling agents to attain their success as models. Epstein, because they followed directions. Is that simple? That's gross. What's up with the Imran Khan mention and them claiming he's more dangerous than like Xi or Putin? Is that even geopolitically cogent? Yes, because Pakistan is a nuclear armed nation and an incredibly important country that America must maintain control over through its intelligence connection. the military runs the country, and the military is basically the CIA. Imran Khan would have developed sovereignty for Pakistan, regardless of his other issues, right? He would have developed sovereignty for Pakistan, and that was unacceptable. It would have destroyed a major part of America's global war on terror initiatives. Because as former defense ministers, current defense ministers have mentioned over and over again, Pakistan has played a major role in modern terrorism in the way that we understand it. They have, by way of the CIA, basically developed all of the terror cells that you know. Without America's stranglehold over the ISI and the Pakistani military, who knows what kind of information you would learn about, who knows what kind of information we get out of Pakistan, and Pakistan, a nuclear armed nation, would be directly aligned with China. What's wrong with Imran Khan? What do you mean there's something wrong with him? I mean, these guys are heading major nations. There's always going to be issues with like self-governance. There's always going to be like domestic issues, right? That's what I mean. Like whether it be like the treatment of the Balochistan independence movement people. Imran Khan is seemingly an angel in comparison to some of these other figures, but like ultimately there's still going to be issues. I'm saying my expectation is not that they're infallible anyway. I'm simply saying that there are issues, but they're inconsequential in comparison to Pakistan. Like he's not in prison for those reasons. He's in prison because he's considered a major threat to American interest in Pakistan. Okay? Something that a lot of people refuse to comprehend when talking about these sorts of things will be like, well, he was bad on this, he was bad on that. It's like, okay, well, those aren't the reasons why he's in jail. Okay? Anyway.
They were redacted. Now, we just discovered 6 men in a 2-hour review. My guess is there are more of those people, and we are going to petition the Justice Department to release that. That could have been incompetence and a cover-up. The broader cover-up, though, that I'm concerned about is the scrubbing that took place in March in the FBI files, where all of this redacted information was then sent to the Justice Department. I think